you guys. So a couple things really quick before we get started. If you like this look, I just did a video talking about the new Makeup Geek eyeshadow, so that's either already up or it's going up next. I just don't know when this video is going up. Second of all, my foundation and my body don't match. I sunless tanned last night, and apparently none of my foundations are dark enough to match the color that I turn, so it's very apparent that I have like floating head syndrome, so love me through it, I'm not perfect. Today's video is part 2 of my roasty declutter series. I did one of these the other day. It went really well. You guys really enjoyed it and said you wanted to see me declutter more of my collection. I'm not going to show you everything I'm decluttering in this video, just like I didn't show you everything I decluttered in the last video, because it would just take absolutely forever. And as I said the first time, super long declutters just bore me. But while I have you, this is a very important message I would like to send out. If you clicked on a video called like getting rid of crappy cheek products, and the thumbnail is me making a stank face, and then the text on the thumbnail says roasty declutter, and you came here to tell me that I'm negative and I'm a hater and I don't like anything, you kind of just like sunk yourself. It makes no sense to me. I paid for a large majority of the stuff that I declutter, so I have every right in the world to say why it didn't work for me and why I don't want it. If you're triggered by that, I'm sorry that you see inanimate objects as things with feelings, but I do not. So get on out from here if that's what you came here to do, because I delete and block people so fast, it's just a waste of energy. Anyway, I'm just gonna get started with this right now that I said it. Some of the stuff you might have seen in the videos before, products I regret purchasing and things of that nature, and some of the stuff I really haven't talked about before, no particular order, but I do have like 3 or 4 Complexion contour kits in here. First one I'm gonna talk about is the Anastasia Sculpt and Glow contour palette. I don't really have a huge problem with this. As you can see, there was a time when I was enjoying the absolute shit out of this cream contour. My main problem with this is I wasn't getting a lot of use out of all of the things, which I feel like is a huge downside to complexion palettes, because typically you're going to gravitate to certain colors or shades or formulas within that palette that suit you, but you paid for all of this. I think complexion palettes are great for pro MUAs. For the average everyday consumer, I think finding singles that work for you are probably your best bet, and I know Natasha Denona has definitely made the contour powder in a single. I might pick that up one day because I do like this formula. I really wish she would make this cream in a single because it's very nice, but I literally didn't touch anything else in here, not to mention it's probably expired by now. Oh yeah, because I got this in 2017, so it's definitely expired. So obviously I'm trying to get rid of stuff that I either don't like or I'm not getting a lot of use out of, but also I'm getting rid of things that are expired, and there's probably gonna be a lot more decluttering of expired lip products than anything else. But yeah, this is mostly just going because it's expired and I really didn't get a whole lot of use out of it. This is the Kat Von D Shade Light palette. I picked this up for the first time back when it first came out many moons ago, so like 2015, 2016, and at the time this was the talk of the motherfucking town. Everybody loved this thing. Even when I very first got this thing, I remember being kind of taken aback by how pigmented it was, but not in a good way, and that's mostly because these powders, like the highlighting powders in here, are just too pigmented. Like, that's too much. I understand I'm one to talk right now because my under eye highlight is so vivid at this moment, but typically I just want an indication of highlight. Like, I just want it to look a little brighter under the eyes and the center of the face to create some dimension, but I don't want it to look harsh, and this always gave me a very harsh highlight situation. I know people swear by these pigmented powders, but I'm just not one of those people. It always surprised me, I think, that they made the contour shade so much bigger than the highlight shade. I never understood that, because the highlighting powder will cover more area of your face than the contour will. Like, a contour is usually like a small thin little line situation, so that part always I found kind of weird. But the funny thing about this, why I have like essentially a brand new one that I've never really gotten any use out of, is because a few years ago I wanted to do a full face of first impressions, that whole thing, but I was talking about like OG products in that video, and this was an OG, so I went and like rebought it just for the sake of the video, and this thing's like $45. It just sat in the drawer. I don't really care for it anymore. Don't buy makeup for creating content. I say it all the time, and this is another good example of why. This is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette. This is basically, I've got the same issue with it that I had with the Kat Von D one. These powders are too pigmented. There's almost too many options in it for me because I'm realistically only going to use one contour shade. In fact, the only contour shade I have been using for over 2 years now, I believe, is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. It's this guy right here. This whole palette will last me probably 2 years. Like, they last forever. I have the one shade that just happens to be a good color for me. So I'm not a fan of contour palettes. I've said it 100 times. Palettes in general, I don't know, man. Like, I just did a whole video about eyeshadow palettes, the ones I'm getting rid of. And then I did a video today about single shadows versus palettes. I'm just not a fan of them. Once again, if you're a pro MUA, I think it's awesome. But I can't use all these colors. Now, I will give Tarte props for like literally the most beautiful packaging on any makeup product I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it is so beautiful. But I don't like this product. I didn't like it from the second I tried it. I still don't like it. I think I've used it 4 times maybe, and there's no need for it to stay in my stash. So get on out from here. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about with the get on out from here, watch the last video. We got a thing going. We're all kind of inside joking right now about this. It is what it is. Last complexion palette, this is the Becca Be a Light palette. So I thought this was gonna be like the Hourglass ambient powders that I'm obsessed with and have been for a long time. And that's not what happened. These powders are kind of chalky. Like, when you touch them, it literally feels kind of like pressed chalk. The finish of them isn't so bad, I guess, but they don't do that glowy thing I was hoping would happen. I tried using this one as like an under eye setting powder for a while because, you know, I was trying to get use out of it, but it doesn't really have any luminosity. So I don't understand like what the goal was with this, but the 2 bigger powders don't accomplish it. The blush does. The blush has a really pretty iridescence to it. And this bronzer isn't a terrible formula. I mean, it's still got the same texture as this, so it's not the smoothest. Once again, it's hard to explain. Like, it feels smooth when you rub it between your fingers, but it doesn't go on smoothly. I don't know what it is about this that did not meet my expectations. I held on to it for so long. Not the vibe. Get on out from here. You know the drill. This is another palette I got from Buxom and PR. This is the Divine Goddess. I can't read at all what it's trying to be. Oh, it's a luminizing highlighter palette. This is so poorly thought out. So what we have here is a palette of cream highlighters, which first of all, aren't exactly the best formulated in the world. I mean, they look pretty nice on the skin, but the texture, I feel like you could only wear this if you were wearing 0 powder on your skin whatsoever, because to blend them out and get them to be like one with the face, it would just drag all your makeup everywhere and be patchy and clingy. But not to mention, I haven't used this, and these little swirls you see in it are me trying to dig the top layer off of this to make it usable, because this is just not good packaging for a cream product. I don't think so, at least. It's better than some do. You ever see people, Smashbox used to do this a lot, where they'll have a powder palette and then put cream products in there also. So all that happens is powder gets dusted all into the cream products. They're completely unusable. So at the very least, I'm glad these are just cream products in this palette, but they dry out. Something about this packaging does not allow it to sustain its moisture. By the time I got it and even attempted to use it, it was dry and I was having to do that digging motion. So this wasn't the vibe. Buxom does amazing lip gloss. But I don't think they're killing it with this exactly. So get on out from here. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Desert Nights bronzer. This is just too dark for me. So the main reason I'm getting rid of any of these bronzers that I'm tossing is because they're too dark for me. With one exception, one of these bronzers is actually kind of garbage. But for the most part, it's because they're too dark. I went through a phase where if I was gonna buy a bronzer, it had to be like as deep of a color as humanly possible. But now I need something a little bit lighter. My current favorite bronzer that I've been wearing for about a year is Capri Coast by Becca. I don't know if you can tell, this is noticeably darker and also much more of a red tone, which might be flattering on some people, but it is not flattering on me. I think I used this bronzer a handful of times and it was really expensive. I want to say it was like 50 bucks. That's pretty pricey if you ask me for a bronzer. These three bronzers all kind of have the same problem as far as I'm concerned, with the exception of this one. This is from Morphe. I bought this to review in a video and the video never went up. Stop buying makeup to review because you gotta keep it, and if it sucks, you're stuck with it. This is weird. I don't know what they were trying to do with this. There's a lighter toned bronzer and a deeper toned bronzer. It kind of has a sheen to it. It's just not the right color. It's like got a yellow undertone to it, almost like a baby pukey yellow undertone. There's something about this that never drew me to it. I don't like the color. I don't like the formula. I don't think Morphe is killing it in the cheek department at all. I think we all can agree. So this can definitely go as well. Two more bronzers, one of which was super expensive. This is the Guerlain Terracotta bronzer. I literally bought this because it felt like a makeup rite of passage. Same thing with something else I'm gonna talk to you guys about here in a minute. I don't like this. It has a very strong smell to it. It's not overpowering, so if you're super sensitive to smell, it might not bother you, but as a whole, I just don't know why anyone puts fragrance in cheek or complexion products, because fragrance is terrible for your skin. Not to mention, anytime I wore this, I could smell it all day. And I was kind of like, ugh, after a while, like I got sick of it. But this is the Terracotta Bronzer in Natural Blondes, number 2. I think this is supposed to be one of the lighter colors, and it's still like way too dark for me. It has a true terracotta undertone. I don't know if you can tell compared to, actually they look kind of similar on camera, but in person, this one is way deeper of like an orange undertone than the other one, and it just doesn't look good on me. As a whole, it gave me a bronzer beard. If you guys don't know what a bronzer beard is, it's basically when your bronzer is so dark or you didn't blend it out well enough that it's just like a clear line of demarcation from where your bronzer stops and starts. And like I said, sometimes that comes from not blending it out, but more often than not, it's probably happening because your bronzers are too dark. And yes, with bronzer, we're trying to emulate a bronzy skin tone, but you don't want it to look unnatural. I kind of hate whenever my makeup looks bad and then I sit here and try to give you guys makeup advice, because on camera, my face and body are so different in tone. In person, I'm looking at a mirror right here. It's not so bad, take my word for it, but I swear I'm not normally so mismatched. Don't go too dark with bronzers, and I don't know if just buying makeup because it feels like something you have to check off of a list is a good idea from what I've learned, because like I said, there's another product in here that I bought just because it was like one of those staple famous makeup items. Don't recommend it. Buy stuff you're actually gonna love and use. This is the Anastasia bronzer. I talked about this in a products I regret purchasing video. Nothing's changed. I still hate this. It's too pigmented. Like when I first tried it, I kind of liked it because it had a slight, oh my gosh. Oh, what the crap. Maybe I didn't realize how bad it was until I put it next to other bronzers, but that's it. What the crap? No wonder I don't like this. Yeah, if you look at it compared to the other ones, it's like ashy, which is the exact opposite of a bronzer. How weird. Yeah, so I didn't like this. Anastasia, for the most part, I feel like kind of knocks it out of the park with products. I feel like they need to slow down with the makeup releases. They're releasing makeup like it is the end of the world. Anastasia, do you guys know something we don't? Because y'all acting like it's now or never, and we have time. Roll some shit out slower. But yeah, this was not the vibe. Get on up on here. So speaking of makeup products that I bought just because I felt like I had to for whatever stupid reason, this is the Estee Lauder. Isn't this Estee Lauder? I think it is. The Estee Lauder Heat Wave Highlighter. All right, listen and listen good. This thing had a huge moment in the beauty community around 2014. And if you will journey with me to a simpler time, you have to understand that at that juncture, we had some highlighters, but it wasn't the playground of shiny shit that we have now. Like, it was rare for them to come out. There wasn't a whole lot of options. So when this kind of got a big moment around 2014, everybody tried to find it and it was gone. Like you couldn't get it anywhere. And then years and years and years went by, and I found this. They relaunched it at Ulta, and it was like an urban makeup myth. Like I couldn't believe I was in the presence of it. So I grabbed this thing up toot sweet. Let's talk about it. This packaging is gorgeous. I even love this little turquoise moment right here. So cute, so beautiful. It feels like something like a piece of jewelry you would wear on the beach. Like something about it gives me that beachy, sun-kissed, glowy vibe. But upon using this, which also in the pan, let's talk about it, so gorgeous, makes no sense. But it has this weird glitter overlay. It took some time to try to like rub the overlay off to try to get down in there, and it's like embedded in this product. Plus, obviously there is just something about this that does not call to me, because I bought it in like 2018, was excited about it for the span of a week or so, and then I never touched it again. And that's the big message I'm trying to give you guys here. I know that I can only speak for myself and my opinion on makeup, but the goal for me to do the declutters this way is to show you guys what effect buying makeup for the wrong reasons has on your budget and your space and your collection. Like I just have a bunch of stuff that means nothing to me that I wasn't using, but at the time when I bought it, I'm sure I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and then I just got over it immediately. In my Facebook group, some of the girls will post pictures of new makeup releases that they want, and they'll be like, talk me out of it. And I say the same thing every single time. I'll be like, you're not gonna care about this in 2 weeks. And that's the truth. We get so excited about this stuff. And it's like the most exciting part about buying makeup, I think, is the wanting to buy it. Because once you actually hand your card over and get it home, like the high goes away, and then you're just on to the next release with the same fervor and excitement. So learn from my mistakes. That's what I'm trying to do, is like basically roasting myself for spending money on stupid things, but I'm hoping it teaches you guys something too. I don't know. This is another highlighter. This is the Bobbi Brown BB highlighting powder in Bronze Glow. I bought this many, many years ago when it was a limited edition release because I thought it was so pretty. And I got it home and I tried to use it, and I knew immediately it was too dark for me. That's it right there. I don't have golden skin. You know what I mean? Like I knew it was too dark for me, and I kept it anyway. I could have easily returned this and gotten a highlighter that would have suited me better, but this was kind of having a moment and I felt like I had to play along at home, so I picked it up. And there's nothing wrong with the formula itself. It's actually really beautiful. It's just not the right color for me, so it's useless in my collection. This is the Stila, what is this called? Heaven's Hue highlighter. I don't have a lot of Stila. You guys, I kind of forget that brand exists 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna lie. But this highlighter's interesting. It's got like a weird, like, when you touch it, it kind of feels wet or something. And when you swatch it out, it's pretty sheer. So in theory, I should like something like this because I do like a more natural highlight. I don't think my highlight looks very natural today, but I'm not in the mood ever for that super harsh, stark, like chrome look on the skin. I don't like that. So I thought this was gonna be just the ticket because when I swatched it in the store, like it had a sheen. But the formula, because it's almost like this, I genuinely don't know how to describe it. Like a soft, I don't know. It's really soft. It doesn't feel like a powder at all. I thought that something about this formula was gonna make it melt into the skin really beautifully. But in fact, what happened was it just wouldn't do shit. Like I had to for me to say I had to build it up to get pigment, that is saying something. So maybe for like a young girl or someone who truly vibes with the most natural kind of look would enjoy something like this, but it just kind of fell flat for me. Also, throughout this entire process, I have learned that when it comes to makeup, I don't really need to go too crazy with bronzer or blush because I'm not getting rid of a lot of blush. I think I only have 3. All the other blushes I have, I do love and I do rotate out and use all the time. I'm pretty good at shopping for blush because I know what I like. Bronzer, I don't need to go too crazy with because once I find the right shade and formula, I don't need to go look for it anymore. Like, I got it. Highlighter, I like highlighter, but I'm so picky about them that I'm just not gonna just go invest in them willy-nilly. My favorite highlighter ever, as many of you guys know, is from Catrice Cosmetics. It's Champagne Campaign. This thing costs like $3 and I use the absolute shit out of it. I love this highlighter. I think it's discontinued. So I don't know why I ended up with all these because highlighter's not even my thing. Speaking of highlighter, this is the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm. When this thing first came out, I was pretty excited about it because I loved the idea of like a clear highlighter, something that didn't have any pigment to it, so that when you actually put it on the skin, it just looked like your skin was glowing, not like the visible, that's a gold highlighter, that's a pink highlighter. I don't know how to explain it. I thought this was gonna be like an invisible veil of glow on the skin, and I thought that was just gonna be so, so beautiful. But actually what this is kind of pressed glitter. Like, you can make it work. Like, I don't know if you can see it, it's right there. But I'm just not a fan of glitter on my cheeks. Now, this might actually be beautiful on the body, like to give a nice, beautiful luminosity, and under like the lights at like a club or something, you would be like, bing, 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 like it would be beautiful, but I ain't going to the club. I'm too old for that shit. And I just couldn't get any other use out of it. I tried using it as like an eyeshadow topper, maybe to make an eyeshadow more sparkly. I don't know. This was a cool idea in theory, but I freaking drank the Kool-Aid and I don't use this. It's gotta go. Get on out from here. I'm only getting rid of a few blushes. This is the Naked Cherry Urban Decay blush. I really liked this blush combo situation actually when I first got it, but I don't know if you can see all these scratches. Can you see those scratches on the pan? That's because it like dried up. It got to the point where my brush wasn't picking up any more pigment, like nothing. So I had to like scratch to try to see if like there was just an overlay or something that was getting in the way of me getting to the pigment. But I mean, I just don't have the patience for this stuff. Like I know a lot of people be like, just scrape the top layer off your eyeshadow palette. What? No, get out of here. Like I need it just to work. I just need things to work. I'm not asking for a lot. So although I love this color, when I got it, I was surprised at how beautiful it was and how unique it was compared to anything else I owned. But she's gotta go. Not the vibe. This is the Patrick Star and MAC collection. I bought both of these collections when it came out because I was gonna do a video about them and I never did because I used to buy makeup to review, which don't do that, it's stupid. This blush is a nightmare to me. Like, it's a really cool toned pink moment and I do not like that at all. I tend to gravitate towards pretty neutral blushes, maybe like a coral or like a peach, but pink, like a cool toned pink, like I feel like it would actually make me look sick. So this literally never got used, ever got used. And then this is the Benefit Rockateur blush. I picked this up because I'm a sucker and I just buy stuff for no apparent reason apparently. I thought this was gonna kind of be like Warm Soul. I don't know if you guys know this about MAC, but there was a blush that they used to make. I know they still make it, but it's not the same, called Warm Soul. And I swear to God, when I first got that blush like 8-9 years ago, it was the only blush I ever used because it was just perfect. It had the perfect amount of like a bronzy gold, but also kind of like a natural kind of mauve tone to it with a little bit of pink. Like it was just perfection. And this in the pan kind of looked like what I wanted it to, what I was looking for, like OG Warm Soul. And it's not, it's nothing like that at all. It actually doesn't even show up. Like it's right there. And that's with a hefty swatch, like trying to get it on there. It doesn't do much. It doesn't blend well. It's not, I'm not even the most deep complected person ever, even when I'm tan. So for this not to show up on me, I never used it. It's gotta go. Next are two baking powder. These are actual baking powders. Like I think that's what they're meant for example. I have more loose powder over there that I considered getting rid of, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it just yet. But when baking became really popular, you guys, I had like a tower of powder. I was buying them constantly. And that is so interesting to me simply because the beauty community shapes the market, not the other way around. Like essentially what happened in 2015, Nikki Tutorials made a video describing Turbo One what baking was. Baking is not new. It's been going on for a long ass time. Drag queens have been doing it forever. But it was this technique that some of us had never heard or seen before. And then it got so big that every company started releasing a powder for baking because at the time, like the only gig in town was Laura Mercier translucent powder. That's what everybody was using. Some people were using the RCMA no color powder. But that was really like the standout contenders in the loose powder game. And then everybody started making them, and I picked these two up for baking. Let's start with this one. I've talked about it before. I did a whole review on it a million years ago. This smells horrible. Like, it smells rancid to me. I don't understand. Like I said with the Guerlain bronzer, why you would load a complexion product up with fragrance. Because once again, every time I use this, I can smell it all day, and it doesn't smell good. It don't smell good at all. It smells like cheap, nasty perfume, and it's not even like a hint of a smell. It's like smack you in the face with scent. It's not good times. This stuff actually did work for what I was trying to accomplish with it. Like, I used it to bake, and it does make your under eye area, your pores, whatever, basically go away. Like, so smooth, so airbrushed, so flawless, but it's super pigmented, which I'm not a fan of. This whole vibe, like this baking and all that stuff, like, I get it. I think in certain settings, in certain situations, with the right person, it's a wonderful technique, but it's not for every day. It's uncomfortable, it's heavy, it's so unflattering in natural daylight 9 times out of 10. So anything along this line can just get on up from here. This is the last thing. This is the Filtered Light Setting Powder from Tarte. You guys, what's going on with Tarte? I don't pay attention to the makeup releases, and I sometimes don't even know what's going on out there, but I don't feel like anybody messes with Tarte. Same things with Smashbox. I don't hear like a lot of, I mean, once again, I can only go off my own experience. I don't know what's going on out there with anybody, but I don't feel like anybody ever talks about Smashbox or Tarte. They're kind of like the Captain D's of the makeup world. You know how there's like definitely a secret society keeping Captain D's in business because, like, I don't know anybody who eats there, but we still got them. That's how I feel about Tarte and Smashbox. Like, I never hear anyone talk about them, and they're still kicking. Anyway, I picked this up. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. Because definitely when I picked it up, I had more than enough loose powder. I had like a stack going, as I aforementioned. And this one, I literally have never used it. I'd never, ever used it. I bought it. It has sat in my drawer. I've not tried it, not one time. Now, the texture already makes me a little apprehensive. It kind of feels like, have you guys ever touched the Makeup Forever HD finishing powder? It feels like that, where it kind of feels like it's made with silicone in it, or silica, excuse me. I don't know, man. Like, this never got used. I think I was too scared once I actually touched it. You know what I'm saying? And realized it was probably going to give that huge weird flashback that the Makeup Forever powder gives. But either way, like, it's not a good sign if you bring something into your home and you never use it. Like, I want to be in a position where when I bring makeup into my house, I'm like, yeah, like, I can't wait to use it. And I want to use it all the time. And I want to empty out the container. Like, I want to use my things. So that's a big motivating factor with this purge, is the things that aren't being used, I just don't need them. For what? For a rainy day? Like, I feel like you have to try to keep your energy consistent. So no more than I would have a person or anything else in my life just hanging out and crowding my space that I don't want anything to do with. No more than I would do that. Do I want to do that with my makeup? Like, I want things to feel lighter, more airy, less. I'm all about that vibe. So all of this stuff can just, you know it, say it with me, get on out from here. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I sure enjoyed making it for you. And if you're mad, you can just die mad for all I care. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is my shit. I paid for most of this. I am more than entitled to say how I feel about it. And as with the eyeshadow palettes I talked about in the last video, all the stuff that can go to Rest Stop Ministries, which is a charity in Nashville, all this stuff is going there, and the rest of it's going to my family. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, thank you to the patrons. There is going to be a huge Patreon giveaway going on in the month of February. I showed the loot as it is right now. I actually have to go to the post office tomorrow and pick up some more stuff, so there'll probably be even more in this giveaway. But I showed a clip of it in a video in a live stream last weekend, and I will actually, on the Patreon, I will make sure to annotate which video and what timestamp to go to see all the stuff, because I just can't get it all in one picture. It's a lot. But yeah, it's up for grabs for everyone who is in Patreon is entered. Doesn't matter which tier you're in. Patreon's a great place to be, if I do say so myself, and the giveaway might just be a fun little bonus if you join, but if you don't want to, that's fine too. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But yeah, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. It is my birthday. I think I'm gonna get off of here, go get something to eat, and go get a massage. So I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and I will catch you in the next one.